right, y'all. We are here on Kinetic Connections, episode 10. I've got none other than Clark Bartram. He is an amazing strength conditioning coach, fitness coach, personal trainer. You name it, he's done it all in the industry. He's a fitness model in tremendous shape at the ripe young age of 57 years old. I'm ashamed to say he's in far better shape than me in that regard. But beyond that, Clark and I got the opportunity to connect actually during COVID last year. And it's been a tremendous opportunity for me to learn from him and see what he's done in the industry for so long, and working with many, many, many innovative fitness tools the same way I have. So I do draw inspiration from guys like Clark because they've been doing it. They know how to do it. And more importantly, they know how to teach other people to do it for the long term. And that's really what it boils down to is what I love about Clark's style is I'm not a very rah guy myself. He's not rah, sis boom bah, and do all this crazy stuff to get fit. It's practical. It makes sense what he teaches. And it's pretty simple. Get to work and you'll get the job done. So Clark, it's good to have you, man. Thank you so much for joining me today.
It's great being here, brother. Thank you so much for having me on this show. I'm ready to go, man.
All fired up. Well, if I'm not mistaken, you're in the San Diego area, right? So what's your how's the weather looking out there these days?
It's not raining. It's a beautiful day. It's probably 80 degrees, blue skies. It's a summer in Southern California, man.
Can't complain. A lot hotter hells than mine, that's for sure. You know, we got a little tropical storm passing through here, and we're getting rained on, but we're making it happen one way or the other here out here on the farm. So we got to get you out here pretty soon to see this place. And next time I'm out there, we'll definitely have some fun playing around. But we want to talk about fitness and fitness for the long term and what it is you do to motivate really men and women, but really mostly men, right? From what I can gather from what you've been doing for the last few months is you've got your men's group, you've got Nano test, and that's a fantastic product that I'm proud to say that I've had the opportunity to implement in my recovery regimen, just as much as my performance regimen. And, what I love about what you've done with that group is that you've given other men the tools, the skills, and the products to implement a practical strategy for being better and doing better. So, what's that all about? What are you doing with it all to make it happen?
Yeah, well, that's it. You're giving people tools, and that's all we can do. Like behind you, you've got a ton of tools that are available to you to help people get stronger. And that's exactly what I do with the Nanotest Performance System for Men. And what I teach, and anyone who's been watching me, I teach 5 lifestyle principles. The best tools that I could give anyone are these: mindset, meals, movement, community, and supplementation, in that order. I think a lot of people, Dan, get it out of order in the sense that if you ask a lot of fitness professionals, they'll say, what is the single most important thing to living in a healthy body? They'll say, well, it's nutrition. I used to say that, but I disagree, because if your mind is not set to eat how you're learning to eat, then none of that knowledge matters. Like, you could have an entire gym like you have or like I have, but if you don't put it into use, it's only sitting there doing nothing. And that's the unfortunate situation that a lot of people have. They invest into a program or a product or a coach, and they never implement and put into action what those tools are meant to do. Like, those tools behind you are very specific and can do very specific things. And you need a practitioner who can teach you how to implement those things into your life to take advantage of it and really get the most out of it without wasting a ton of time and effort.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that there's a lot. I mean, we have probably as much a saturated fitness market when it comes to tools and supplements as there's ever been. But, what are your recommendations for people who are maybe they don't come see me, maybe they don't come see you, but they're looking for a great coach or a great program to follow? When it comes to not just the actual fitness aspects, the nuts and bolts of training, the nuts and bolts of eating, but mindset. What have you seen some of the pitfalls that some of these young coaches are out there? They mean well, but maybe they're just kind of missing the mark on how they're teaching it or how they're communicating it. What would you recommend people look for when it comes to that aspect of it from the mindset side of things?
Well, you just said it, teaching it and communicating it. Because if you're teaching in a way that you can't communicate the message in a way that that person's going to be able to receive it and apply it to their life, then it's the wrong relationship. You need to seek out somebody who you actually have a similar we'll call it a vibration if you want to go to that level. Like you're connecting with them in a way that is going to allow you to open up parts of yourself that may be what are holding you back from achieving success. One of the best ways that I help my men become successful, and these are all men that are stuck in their ways. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You know, I'm old and this is how I do it. Is I help them get vulnerable. I help them get honest about where they're at. I help them understand, look, if you don't do something now and implement what I'm teaching you, your life is going to change, but it's not going to change in the direction that you came here asking me to help you change it in. It's going to go the other way. So you need to make a decision right now. So my approach is with mindset, I'm honest, I'm real, I'm transparent. I don't give an F what anyone thinks because I care that much. I like really care that much that I'm going to be so brutally honest with people. They're either going to step up and step in or step up and step out. They got one or two things to decide on. And most guys come in because they see that I'm real. And then with respect to how I teach it, I do it in a way that is sustainable. We can't ask people to change in such a way that will get them results temporarily. It needs to be sustainable. That's why I don't buy into a lot of these protocols that are out there that are temporary in their fix.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those areas that a lot of people struggle with. I mean, from all different walks of life, from all different levels of success, is decision making. You mentioned that a couple of times. What is it that you do or try to communicate as a coach to those people who you find are sort of at that crossroad, that they're coming to you for the first time and they're, maybe you kind of suspect they're trying to dip their toe in the water, but they don't really want to jump in full bore. What do you do to get them to take that leap and make that step and make a decision on improving their life?
I allow them that feeling, because I realize if I try and force somebody to the deep end of the pool, I could lose them and I could really affect how they approach the next thing. So one of the phrases that I've coined is do what you can the best you can. So I have guys that come into my community that are at different levels. And most people are intimidated to enter into any kind of community, especially when it's led by someone such as yourself or me, that they're hearing the knowledge base you have and you're speaking in a language that might not be something that they're used to. So they suddenly get intimidated. But you know when to dumb down your language to not overstep where that person is. You're a smart guy. You get how to kind of coach that person. It's just like a coach, and we'll take football, for example. You got the guy who's real rah and in your face and needs that, just come on, man, you can do this. And then you got the kid that is not that way, but equally as talented. You have to approach him in a different way. It's really understanding who you're dealing with and how to get the most and the best out of them for themselves.
Yeah. And then, like I said, that's one of the things that I really noticed about your approach is that it does have that sort of motivational edge, but with the practicality and the actual tangible tools, man. I'm so big on that. I personally, that's why I make my videos the way I do, right? Is I like to show it rather than talk about it so much more. So from a practical perspective, without sort of giving away the secret sauce, I know you have a program that you want people to get into and be a part of and understand. What are some of the different pieces of those 5 pillars that you teach people, and those 5 foundational pieces from motivation all the way through nutrition that are sort of exclusive to your program, and what it is you're teaching these guys to get a hold of?
Well, the reality is there's nothing exclusive to any of us, and any of us who suggest that there is completely full of themselves. Everything I got from you, I got from Mike, I got from Frank, I got from Sally, from all of the people that I've been fortunate enough to be around and learn from. So now I am digesting all of that knowledge, right? Because you bring more than 25 years of experience. You bring a collective, right? Like there's a big thing in the world today of a collective. You get all these people living in a house, and collectively, they can do a big thing. Collectively, you've got knowledge that goes probably 100 years of all the people that you've been exposed to. So there's nothing proprietary about what I do. So specifically as it relates to mindset, is I just ask people to invest time into themselves. The number one pushback that we get, or any personal trainer, is, well, I don't have enough time. Guy said it to me in the gym today. And I'm thinking to myself, you're so full of shit. I can read through what you're saying right now, and I'm not even going to waste my time because I want to get to this next set of hammer strength rows. I'm not even going to do this. But I knew exactly where he was coming from because I have so much experience in this, it drives me nuts. But what I tell people is, you say you don't have time, but all you need to do is get up 15 minutes earlier in the morning. And if you go to bed 15 minutes earlier at night, you still have the same amount of sleep. So instead of getting up and watching the TV news and looking at your text messages and your emails and your TikTok and your Instagram, use that 15 minutes, journal, give thanks, breathe, stretch a little bit, walk around your house and go, man, I'm blessed. I got all of this stuff. 15 minutes of intentional, like manifestation of positive energy, as opposed to giving your energy to 4 people shot today and, you know, this and that. And I'm like, I did a radio show the other morning and I got on 5 minutes earlier. Brother, that 5 minutes of listening to the radio was enough to make me puke. I'm like, people digest this stuff every day. No wonder people feel like crap, man. So I require, you know, as much as I can, that my men get up early and I make them report it. So what I do is I have them in the 5 lifestyle principles on a scale of 1 to 10, rate themselves at the end of each night. So on a scale of 1 to 10, were you at a 7 or better in mindset, meals, movement, community, and supplementation? So let's say movement, you were at a 3. Now you know where to focus. So I give them a very practical and easy way to determine where am I messing up on my program. And you just do that when you lay your head at night and you be honest with yourself. And then the next day when you wake up, okay, movement, I was at a 3. I'm going to get to a 7 today. How do I do that? What didn't I do yesterday? Well, I skipped my cardio. Okay, I'm going to get my cardio in. And it's so simple. We overcomplicate it because we start telling ourselves lies and stories. So that applies to every single one of those 5 lifestyle principles. And the one about supplementation might seem a little odd in the sense that, well, how does someone, what I want my guys to be is educated consumers. I don't force nano test on anyone, but if you're going to go off and buy someone's shit, you better know what you're taking. You better know why you're taking it. You better know what the long-term effect is and what it's actually doing for you and what's in it. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. I really educate my guys on what good products are, and I recommend other things to my guys. Like, you know how many guys have bought the inertia waves because of you? You got me on inertia waves. Inertia wave Dave has sold so many inertia wave things because I'm like, this is great, brother. This is better than any battle rope you'll ever use. And now when I see the battle rope, I get disgusted. I'm like, big, fat, heavy, ugly, frayed up rope in the gym. Get rid of that piece of crap, man. You know?
Right. Well, that's, again, that's exactly why I identified with you so well. And then when when you released Nano Test, I was so excited because I know how much attention to detail, what a type A you are, number one, to have that attention to detail and know what's going into these products, what's important about the design and the function and what it's actually going to do for a human being's physiology, whether that's a tool like the inertia wave or the breath belt or one of these other tools, or the supplement that you're, even more so what you're putting inside your body. Like you said, are you digesting this crap? Not just nutritionally, but also mentally and emotionally. What kind of stress are these people putting their bodies under by putting a bunch of garbage in it that doesn't need to be there in the first place, and then filling their head and their eyes and their ears with a bunch of garbage that doesn't need to be there, that's only detracting them from achieving their goal and achieving their purpose of investing in themselves. That's you would think it's a simple enough thing to do, but I've found with programs like this that people tend to have this strange backward psychology of, like I'm adding this on. But in fact, what it sounds a lot like, correct me if I'm wrong, is it sounds like you're actually asking people to remove things from their life that are causing them problems and simplify in practical ways. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Because what I tell people oftentimes is try and unlearn some of the stuff that you've learned. Because we live in this day and age where information is not anything that we're lacking. And we can go online and we can confuse ourselves. We can overwhelm ourselves. We can make this so complicated where it's like, okay, back up a little bit, man. That's why I talk about exercise. Exercise is nothing more than movement. If you move differently today than you did yesterday, your human body will adapt and get stronger. It's that simple. It doesn't need to be a weight. It doesn't need to be anything that's intimidating that you have told yourself, well, I'm intimidated to go to the gym. I can't go to the gym. I don't have money. There's no gym in my area. I don't care. Look, I could take you right now on this chair. I don't even need to get off this chair. And you and I both right now, like right now, I'm exercising. Ha, ha, ha. My just core and everything in here. It blows my mind, man, what we do to ourselves with these conversations that we have that limit us from like being awesome. So exercise is just movement. But here's the neat thing that people don't really understand, and that you get more than anyone that I've ever met, honestly. Someone will say, well, I drive a UPS truck and I carry boxes, 400 of them in and out of my truck every day. Well, you know what your human body did? It adapted to that. It figured it out. It knows you're going to grab a box, throw it up on your right shoulder, run up my driveway. It's 60 yards long. You're going to bend over. You're going to drop it off. You're going to turn. You're going to run back down. Because you do that every day for the last 20 years, that is not really exercise anymore, because you're not doing anything differently. You could do something as simple as carry the box on your left shoulder instead of your right shoulder. Now your body's going, oh, wait a minute, guys, oblique, glute. We gotta switch it up. We gotta change this whole
curveball here, man.
Kinetic chain, and do it differently. Now your body's adapting and it's getting stronger and it's getting more balanced. And I'm preaching to the choir, bro, but
yeah, no, I mean, well, look, ultimately this is about communicating this to all the people out there who are going to watch and listen in and tune in to someone who's been doing it longer than me. And that's what I loved about watching your stuff early on, is I realized it was very validating for me to see you and guys like Mike. I'm pretty sure I only found you because I was following Mike and Frog, the Frog trainer and all those different tools. And it was really validating for me coming up into these sort of new areas of the science behind training, and understanding that not only could you train functionally, train sensibly, and use anything and everything to get the job done. What mattered was the quality of the training, the quality of your understanding and your intentionality behind what it is you're doing on a daily basis, moment by moment basis, taking ownership of your body and learning to apply it in the right direction. Your thoughts, learning to apply them in the right direction. Your words, learning to apply them in the right direction, so that it all comes together to improve you on a daily basis. And I mean, you've only continued to crystallize that for me. So, one of the big areas that I focus on personally for me is the tactical athlete realm, is the law enforcement officers, the military personnel, people who are doing things, far outside the normal call of duty for the average human being. And they struggle with all these things as well. These are people who are high level executors who get the job done, but they also suffer from a lot of different issues. And you were a Marine yourself, correct?
Yes.
What was your experience with the Marines that led to you going from Marine tactical athlete, mindset into fitness training? I know they go hand in hand. A lot of military personnel go that route, but what for you were the different aspects of life as a Marine that translated over so well, and that you were able to take that and let it be embodied in your work today?
I excelled in boot camp. I rose to the top of my platoon. I was very physically fit because I trained before I went in. I knew what was ahead of me and I wanted to be the best. And when I got out of boot camp, graduating with honors and all of that, and I come into the Fleet Marine Corps, I'm at Camp Pendleton. And typically when guys have lunch, they go eat chow and they come back and they hit the rack. They go to sleep. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I started going off and just doing a very simple exercise program, 20 pull-ups, 20 push-ups, 19 all the way down to 1. My commanding officer saw me. He said, hey, Bartram, we got a couple fat bodies here that are going to get kicked out. I need someone to help them get in shape. I need you to work with these guys. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just out here moving. And they came and they ended up staying in. And then I realized, I'm like, wow, there's something to this. Like, I didn't even know it like on a very like practical level, but somewhere deep in my soul, the seed was planted of, this is cool. This is what I can do. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I went right into the gym business. And frankly, it was because I needed a job. But thankfully, it was part of the path that was set out before me that led me to where I'm at today. And I've been in this industry literally my entire life. If you look at it pragmatically as, you know, what I did in the Marine Corps, what I was taught, I played rugby in the Marine Corps, all of it was physical. And it all leads up to last night where I'm doing these football tricks. And I ended up playing football with a bunch of 25-year-old kids. And here's something's really interesting. And I want older guys to listen to me. And I want younger guys to listen. Anyone. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. When I coach my guys the other day, I have a fence in my backyard. I popped over it. You know how you used to pop over a fence? Boom, like that.
Yeah, of course.
I said, guys, get outside. Don't kill yourself, but pop over a fence 5 times right and 5 times left. When was the last time you did this? Man, dude, the feed just blew up. They're like, I haven't done that in forever, this and that. And I said, get out and do it. You need to do this. So the football field where we go, you have to scale a fence and then a wall to get on the field. Yesterday, I was so proud of myself. I'm thinking, I scaled that fence like I was 16 years old. I popped over that so damn fast. I popped down that wall and I'm on the field and I'm doing all this fun stuff. Then my son says, hey, you still at the football field? We're coming over. I said, oh, great. I'll run routes. I'll D up. I'll do whatever you want to do. So I'm sitting there on the field, brother. I watched these 3 kids. My son was not one of them because he's still very athletic. Actually, it was 2 of 3 that came afterwards. They couldn't climb the damn fence, bro. They were having such a hard time. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are 20-something years old. Then the kid got on the field. I said, hey, why don't we start a flag team? 2 of them said this, I need to get in shape first. I was like, oh. Come on, you're 23. You're 24. You just graduated high school. You played football. You shouldn't be out of shape already. You don't have a kid. You probably, I don't know if you have a job or not. There's no reason. Now this, you take that and you multiply that 30, 40, 50. No wonder the United States of America is freaking in the condition it's in, man. I don't want to get into all that, but so.
Yeah, you know, look, the unfortunate reality is that there's a lot that's gone on to hamper the ability of young kids to start coming up in a more physical, call it what you will, dangerous environment, whatever it is. But, you know, movement just has not been a prioritized portion of our society. And unfortunately, we're beginning to really see the effects of that. You know, like I said, I work with primarily tactical athletes in prepping for police academy. And I see it all the time. I mean, you know, people who are trying to become police officers can't do a push-up to save their life. Can't do, you know, scaling a wall or running 800 meters for, you know, and within 3 minutes. And, you know, to be able to progress them to that point, we've had to go and resort to really distilling things down to the most simple areas of training, which is hold yourself in push-up position for a few minutes a few seconds at a time until you can do a few minutes at a time. Jog or at least walk really fast for a few minutes and then recover. And, you know, how important is it for you to show a certain level of versatility in your overall movements throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, when you're teaching these guys? 'Cause I'm sure you're getting people who are just absolutely, you know, haven't moved in years, you know, beyond getting up out of their chair, getting up out of their bed, getting in and out of their car. You know, what is it you guys are teaching in the men's group from the movement side of things that I find to be one of the most actionable ways to at least get people moving in the right direction? It's something you can do. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to talk about it. Just do it. So what is it you guys are teaching in that regard?
Well, first of all, that's why guys follow me, because they see that I am capable and highly functional at 57 years old, when most people have convinced themselves because of their age they can't do this. So it's an absolute requirement for me, like as a man, as a coach, as a leader, as an influencer, to be someone who is capable. I never, ever ask one of my guys to do something that I haven't done or I'm not currently doing. And one of those things, most recently, last night, is sprinting. I've been telling myself I need to get back out and sprint again. I'm a big believer in sprinting, specifically and especially as we age. It is vital, man. But sprinting, you know what I mean? Like fitness level related sprinting. So I got on last night. After I did my sprints last night, I coached my guys. I said, look, I have not yet talked to you about this because I have not yet got out here and done this. But now that I just completed 10, 40% sprints, sprinting down to 40%, walking back for 10 rounds, now I can come to you and tell you, I need you to get out there and sprint, because I'm no longer telling myself, oh, shoot, the field's closed that I normally go to. Oh, I got to run and do this podcast. I don't have time. I stopped that bitch ass dude that's in my head, and I started getting out there and doing it. So I'm going to go do that after we're done here and get my session in for today. I've already done my workout. I've already done my cardio. This is my functional work. That to me is the single most important thing that we should ever be training for. Forget muscles, forget abs, forget all of it. If you're not functioning highly as a human being, regardless of your age, you're missing the beauty of being a human being.
Yeah, being able to enjoy this body that you're in and what it's actually useful for. I mean, when you really distill down all the different stuff that we train in a gym, it comes down to one's ability to survive. You're either fighting or you're flying or you're running, right? You're running from something, running after something, hunting it, killing it, eating it, whatever that looks like, whether you're, or maybe you're growing your food, right? You got to be able to dig up the dirt. You got to be able to put the seeds in there. You got to be able to reap what you sow in many ways. And unfortunately, if you're not doing any sowing, you're not going to be doing very much reaping.
Yeah, real quick on that point. If you watch my stories, you see Wayne and you see the mayor. Wayne is 77. The mayor is 67. 4th of July. So the mayor comes here on Monday, on July 5th. I said, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, I took my daughter, who's got a young daughter, 8 years old. He said, I took her to the fireworks. He said, you know what, Clark? I sat on the grass. You know why? Because I could get up without people having to help me. And that's because I've been coming here and training with you. I make Wayne fall down on the mat.
Zephyr mats, yeah.
Mat. I make Wayne fall down. I'm like, fall down. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, fall down. He's like, what do you mean? I want to hurt myself. I said, fall down, figure it out. And he falls down. And I'm like, get up. Get up. You're not going to be the guy in the commercial that says, I've fallen down and I can't get up. Because the reality is, at some point, you're probably going to fall, but not if I teach you how to stay balanced. Not if I teach you all of these things that I know you're not doing outside of this. Yeah. The mayor, the first thing I have them all do is just mobility work. I have them get their hips open. I get them moving. I grease their joints up. And then we go into this functional training. And just because they want to do it, I do bodybuilding stuff. I let them pump their arms up. But most of what I'm teaching them is how to be highly functioning humans at 67 and 77.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all friends with bodybuilders. You with certainly with some of the most illustrious of them. I think they can all agree that there's room in that realm to look good, feel good, and perform well, right? I mean, again, with nutrition and supplementation being part of the program, you can certainly go out of your way to program your workouts in a way that you can teach your body to be very, very capable in many, many, many different ways for many different types of activities and still look the part of a fitness model or a bodybuilder or a high performing athlete. So what does that look like for you? For those people who are at the absolute beginners level, haven't trained in 20 years, don't think they can do it. I can't sprint because my knee, or I can't do squats because my back, or this or that. What are some of those mental and mindset driven barriers that you help them get past, as well as the practical barriers? What are the modifications you're making for guys like that? Like you said, they say, oh, I can't go out and sprint. Well, here's some other ways you can sprint without actually running forward in a straight line at top speed because you're scared you're going to tear your hamstring or what have you.
Yeah, well, the first thing we need to deal with is the voice that's in the head
Yeah, of course.
you that you can't. That's why I put mindset first. So once we overcome that obstacle, then we take a practical approach. Like I said, I coined the phrase, do what you can the best you can. I certainly cannot get out. I've been watching the Olympic trials. I couldn't compete against the slowest person on the totem pole. I realize that I'm not at that level. So I'm not going to get out there and try and compete against them. I can get inspired by them. And that's part of what got me out there sprinting again, was I got inspiration from watching these world-class sprinters, men and women. And I went out there and realized, hey, I can do this, but I could do it on a level. I could get in the Senior Olympics and be okay, but I'm not going to run a race today. I went out there and I know I'm capable at 40%. So if I took Wayne, for example, and wanted him to do a sprint, and I actually have him jog up my driveway, that's where we start. I have him jog up my driveway. And the practical thing is, Wayne, pick up your feet. You drag your feet. We need to get them off the ground. So now I back it up to something as simple as, this. I just have Wayne do this. We mimic that sprinting motion, that what it would look like on a track, but we now start training our mind to get that contralateral kind of, synergy going. And he's like, this is stupid. I said, Wayne, it's not. What was it?
Just that basic coordination of it and helping them progress in a low impact, but ultimately intense way, right? I mean, like you mentioned the Zephyr pad, which was one of my favorite tools. I mean, that's why I went a lot for many reasons on the journey of finding all this different stuff that I work with. It wasn't just for the sake of making my own workouts more fun. I found that a lot of people found those to be useful progressions in so many ways. That reduced the impact but increased the output. They were able to go longer and stronger and not feel like they were beat up while doing it. So again, all excuses aside, there's plenty of stuff out there that you can find to help you modify, to help you progress in a more sensible way while still feeling like you're performing at a high level. So I do want to keep these podcasts more fun and have a little bit more energy behind them. That's a little bit more playful, because all the ones I do seem to be, purely focused on, what we could do to get you past barriers and go over obstacles. So, one of these things that I want to start including into it is for you, Clark. You've been in this industry a long time. What are your 3 dirty words of fitness? And, what do you find to be the negative connotations on those? And what are some positive spins that you as a coach, we're masters of putting a positive spin on everything, right? What are the positive spins that you put on those 3 dirty words of fitness?
Macros, fasted cardio, and prep.
Nice.
I hate it. Like it's become such like this club that you're in when you start speaking of, hey, what are your macros? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? I mean, I'm on prep. Me and a buddy of mine have a joke where we talk about we're on prep. Now, I'm not disrespecting anyone that prepares, but though you asked the question and that's the answer.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And the way I spin on it, it's like, dude, we've been doing this forever, man. Did you ever watch Pumping Iron? They were doing that stuff way back then, but they didn't like put these club words on it where you're now somebody who's segmented from the population and you're special because you do this, because you walk around the gym with a gym bag everywhere you go in a 5-gallon bucket of water. You drop your gym bag, which I don't know what the hell's in there because I don't see you pulling anything out of it. And you know what, your water. And it's like, come on, man, can't we just like be people and not create this vocabulary and vernacular that is segmenting us from the rest of the population and makes everybody else, myself included, feel like stupid, Yeah.
I would say that, for me, being certainly in the more movement driven, functionality driven space, the survivability space, quite frankly, we just don't have any time for thinking about those things. I'm not thinking about my macros when when I'm worried about training someone how to draw a firearm and apply it accordingly, or put someone's arm in the right place so that they can tell them their Miranda rights and get some cuffs on them so that they're not a danger to themselves just as much as the officer. So, Yeah, no, I can definitely identify with that. But that's a fun area that I'd like more people to start really asking themselves that question. And on a more serious note, beyond just the playfulness of what those dirty words are, I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of different answers on what that looks like for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. But those are that, it's that marketing terminology that we love to be able to take a concept and shove it into this box and say, okay, here's this simple thing you can focus on. But yeah, certainly macros is one of those areas that that a lot of people struggle with. But practically speaking, again, you're dealing with a lot of high level people who are high performers in one area of their life, but don't feel like they're performing in other areas. That's why they're coming to you. And again, in your program, you've been successful with a lot of people without even talking macros. Am I right?
That word never comes out of my mouth unless it's a joke, or you just ask me. Right? Word I despise. Like if I told Wayne or the mayor, hey, what are your macros at? They'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't know what. Hey, what did you eat today? Like the biggest thing that I learned when I went on Home Shopping Network in QVC was you cannot use industry words when you're dealing with regular people. Even like when I was on QVC, you can't say tricep, you can't say abs, you can't say glutes. It's tummy, it's butt, it's back of the arms, it's the outside part of your shoulder here, it's the upper part of your chest. It's words that
really? I had no idea that they were that specific in the production side of things as to the terminology you use.
Oh yeah, because you think about the people you're talking to. You're talking
of course.
The demographic is not anyone that's going to resonate. So now what we're trying to do is show how smart we are, show what we know. I remember they told me very specifically, I said, nope, stop. Don't ever say abs. Because I had an ab machine. It was called 3D abs. And I had to talk about tummy, and I had to talk about waist and how easy it was and how simple. And it wasn't to trick anyone because it was easy, it was simple, it was fun. But if I said, hey, this is a lifestyle and your macros need to be a certain way and your functionality and your core strength is vital because all human movement originates at the core. And it's like, what? Turn the channel. This guy's full of it. He's full of himself,
Yeah, well, it's I think that's a great cautionary tale for myself included. I think we all get caught up in, what it is we're trying to teach and how it is we're trying to teach it, what we want to communicate as part of our persona, but keeping it simple, stupid, right?
Know your audience. Know your audience.
Know your audience and who you're delivering your information to. So that's a cautionary tale to all the young trainers that are out there and learning to make your way in this world is know who it is you're talking to, how it is you're talking to them, and what's going to connect best with them. And, for everyone, trainers and clients and patients included, be open to what all these different facets of the coaching community, of the training community have to offer, because there's always something that we can draw from all of it. Right down to the shake weight. Yeah. Right. You move long enough with that thing, I think you might actually get a workout in, you know what I mean? So, and in the right way.
Do 3 minutes with the shake weight. I tried it when it came out, bro. That thing, you hold it right here like that, 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're going to get something out of it, so just be open to the opportunity and the creativity that can come from helping you become successful, I think is what we can all draw from this conversation today. But, for you, if you were to kind of just give people a few practical things to sink their teeth into on a daily basis, would that really boil down to the five facets of your program and what it is you teach within those?
Absolutely. And one of the things that I always tell people is, listen, you're a human. And if you're striving to be perfect in anything you do, you're always going to let yourself down. And when you mess up, when you mess up on your diet or your exercise or your mindset routine or whatever it is that I've asked you to do, don't beat yourself up. That's the problem that people have, is they set out to be perfect on a diet. Like, I'm going to do this keto thing. Look, that's not sustainable. It's not something I recommend for anyone for any length of time, because there will come a point in time when you can no longer do that for whatever reason, if you're the average regular person listening. So when you mess up, what happens is you start telling yourself again all of the reasons why you're a failure and you've tried this before and you've gained the weight back and blah, blah, blah. Those are all lies that keep us held back. So allow yourself the room to fail and don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as being a human. This is a part of life. So if you go to bed that night and you say, wow, I was a 3 today at meals. I need to get to a 7, or I want to get to a 7 tomorrow so I could up that so I don't have to deal with how I'm currently feeling. I'm going to prep my meals and have them available so I am not left wanting. I'm not left driving through somewhere where it's not going to be a nutritionally complementary meal. It's going to be something that's void nutritionally, and that becomes a problem in and of itself. So you have to give yourself a break, man. You know?
Yeah, definitely. To be of the mindset of you're not only are you capable of failing, but you're also capable of learning from failure, right? And that might be the greatest lesson of all. So for you, when in your own programs, all throughout your years, what have been your primary sources of getting back on track and getting back on the wagon for yourself and your own practical application of you're following this program, you're getting ready for this shoot, you're getting, ready for whatever it is, what were the ways that you just got yourself back on track? What did you set your mind to and do to get yourself going back in the right direction?
See that painting behind me?
There it is.
I realized, and I thought enough to pay someone a lot of money to paint that for me. Along the side, it's got my birth date, 10/03/1963. One life, limit, one per person, get busy living. I see this every day. Up here on my wall, get busy living. On here, my wall, the 5 lifestyle principles. And around me, I'm surrounded with reminders of, I have one life. I have one body. And people are always telling us, go find your why. And people come up with these bullshit whys that have no meaning. I want to look good for my high school reunion. I got my high school reunion come up. Of course, I want to look good for that. I want to represent myself well. I still want to be the sexiest guy in Timken Senior High School 40 years later. But that's not what drives me to go off and throw a football, to hit an upright, to get a guy's attention, to come and join my group. What drives me is I have one life and I want to live it. That's my why, and that why can make me cry. And that's really what we got to search for. So if I have a day where I had the other day where I just sat on the couch and did absolutely nothing, I didn't beat myself up because I realized I'm in this for the long haul. This is not a 12-week program. This is not something I'm doing to get ready for a photo shoot. So what I use is my birthday every single year on October 3rd, 1963. I want to be the best version of myself mentally, physically, spiritually, relationally, financially than what I was at 57. So when I turn 58, I start like this deep dive into becoming a better version of Clark Bartram, not just for myself, but for everyone who comes into contact with me, because my personal life's mission statement that I created 20 years ago was to positively and powerfully affect everyone I come into contact with. That's what I say when I wake up in the morning and I put my feet on the ground. That's my 15 minutes early in the morning that I ask other men to do. Because remember, I don't ask anyone to do anything that I don't currently do. This morning, when my feet hit the ground, no lie, I sit down, I look at my feet, and I say, today, I will positively and powerfully affect everyone I come into contact with. That could be opening a door, that could be saying hi, that could be giving advice, that could be smiling, that could be hugging my wife, going to knock doors with my son tonight as he sells solar door to door, hanging out with my daughter, whatever. I will positively and powerfully affect the lives of the people that I come into contact with. That's what drives me.
No, and certainly I can thank you for having positively impacted my own and giving me some insight and knowledge as to what it is you've done in the industry, not just in the time that we've spoken here, but in the time that I've been following you and paying attention to your work. And one of the really very, very practical manifestations of that has been Nano Test. And I wanted to, ask some of how you came about Nano Test, where that fell in line with what it is you were trying to achieve. And what are some of the key aspects of that product? I've gotten the chance to try it myself. Certainly enjoyed the benefits of, higher energy levels, definitely feeling better recovery, from workouts. And, how did Nano Test come to be your sort of brainchild, and what success have you seen with it now that it's actually been in the market for some time?
So the experience that I've had in the industry, and I believe what I was created to do on this earth from birth, is to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now, even down to this podcast.
Yeah.
So with respect to that experience, I've been around a lot of companies that I've learned the good things, I've learned the bad things. I've taken the good things and I've witnessed the bad things. And I told myself, much like being parented and then being a parent, like, I'm not going to do the things my parents did. I'm going to be a better version of a parent than my parents were. We all want to improve upon things that we've seen. So I've been around other companies that have made similar products, but I've seen some of the things that happen behind the scenes that the average person doesn't see. Things like fairy dusting expensive ingredients into a product so they can hide it in a proprietary blend and say there's an efficacious amount of that ingredient in there, which most times and oftentimes there isn't. And I could get into serious on that, but I won't.
Formulas all day, right?
Yeah, but what I said I would do is, when I can make a product on my own, I will create the world's best product. And that's exactly what I said when I went to my formulator. I said, hey, listen, I want to create the world's greatest testosterone booster. They said, okay. And they were waiting for me to say something else. I'm like, what's it going to take? They're like, well, how much do you want it to cost? And I'm like, however much it costs to make the world's greatest natural testosterone booster. And they're like, wait a minute, did you just hear this guy? And I have it on record. I have video of this, of the people that I went to. They said, Clark, we have never had anyone walk in here and say that to us. You know what you just did? You unhandcuffed our formulators, and you're now allowing them the freedom to create something that actually works, because you didn't bind them to a limit of $10 manufacturing costs. You've now opened up an opportunity that these guys have been waiting for once in their life to create something that actually works. And that's what we did. And the reason we call it nanotest is because we've nanotized some of the ingredients to allow the passing of the blood-brain barrier and attaching to the cell receptors and the things that need to happen.
Better bioavailability, yeah?
Yeah, the bioavailability. And for them to actually work like they've been proven to. Like, there is research behind Tonkat Ali, horny goatweed, zinc, vitamin D, magnesium, all these other things that are in here that I have. There's over 35 ingredients, and this thing is expensive to make. It's a premium product. It's premium, and it's because it's the only product that comes with a coach. Any product, listen, if you don't hear anything else I say, listen to me. As an educated consumer, you need to understand that any supplement you take is only as good as the lifestyle that supports it. And that is exactly why on the inside, I put the 5 lifestyle principles, because this is the only supplement that comes with a coach. When someone gets this, you know what they get? Me. You know how much it is? Free. You know what they get? This, what they just experienced every freaking day in my group. These guys get more of Clark Bartram. And my people in my circle of influence, these guys are so entitled with the people that they get exposed to. It's unbelievable. And man, I could go on and on about this, but I created something that actually works. So the results are proven. I have A-list celebrities that have blood tests that show an increase in testosterone. And that takes me back to, I don't know if it was on this podcast or last one I was on. I will argue with anyone on planet Earth. I don't care who you are. On planet Earth, there's nobody on this planet that can tell me the human body, regardless of age, is not capable of increasing testosterone levels naturally without the use of something exogenous. If you tell me that that's not a fact, you completely limit your credibility in my mind, because you're stupid. Yeah, I said it. You're stupid. You know, because if you think you know more than the human body is capable of, you have bought into your own bullshit, man. I'm telling you. And I'm not saying I know more than anyone else, but I'm not limiting my human body to, oh no, you're 50, you can't produce testosterone anymore.
Well, usually those are the people who aren't doing any of this stuff to actually prove it to themselves. So yeah, I mean, look, the fact is you're not a guy who just talks about it. You're a guy who knows how to be about it. And the results in your own life and your own portfolio are well proven. So I certainly won't argue with that. I'm going to keep taking my Nano test as part of my normal regimen and routine, and make sure that those of you who are watching, you head over to nanotest.co. It's not .com, it's .co, correct? So nanotest.co to check it out. What Clark has done with that product, because it is a tremendous product, and it is certainly useful as part of your daily nutritional regimen and making sure that you're recovering from your workouts and performing well during your workouts. And certainly the longer you take it, the better off you're going to be. Follow the directions though, because they are specific about how it is you need to apply that. Like anything else, specificity is important. So, Clark, man, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. And taking the time to connect and give your knowledge and insight on what it is you've done with not only Nanotest, but this entire group, and within your career, not only as a Marine veteran, but as a personal trainer, as a fitness model. Like I said, man, I've gotten the opportunity to learn from you in so many more ways than you even know. So just keep doing what you're doing. You're definitely achieving your purpose in my mind. And thank you so much for taking the time today, brother.
I appreciate you, Dan. Thanks so much, man.
Clark, thank you so much. Again, everyone, make sure to go head over to Instagram, follow Clark at Clark Bartram on Instagram, head over to nanotest.co, check out the product there. He's got his link tree on his Instagram, so you can check out all the other stuff that he's doing, and just follow him and be inspired by him, because he's doing some tremendous work. We'll have this up pretty soon, y'all. So boom, we'll see you next time. Live kinetically.